Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the park, Wilson Park, and National Night Out, I understand. Yeah, beautiful. We're the Red Cedar Brass Quintet, and we have been together since about 1989, which puts us in the category of old. And so we just love playing together, and we're going to do a number of songs for you. This first thing, this is from a collection by the Dallas Brass called Brass Cruise. This one's called Catwalk Blues. Since its founding in 1983, Mr. Michael Levine, the Dallas Brass, has become one of America's foremost musical ensembles. The group was established a unique blend of traditional brass instruments with a full complement of drums. Well, we don't have the drums with us. So I hope you enjoy. If you feel like dancing, go ahead. This will be a small charge. This next one is also one of the Brass Cruise by the Dallas Brass. I had the pleasure to do a clinic with them in 1989 for about a week. Fabulous group. And this is a down-tempo written by John Watson. It's titled Beyond the Clouds. That's what it looks like tonight, folks, Beyond the Clouds. Enjoy. You're probably wondering what these are right here. These are known as flugelhorns.
otherwise known as pregnant trumpets.
That's right. We've been together for 36 years, folks. That's longer than most marriages last, I think. We still just love doing music, don't you? What a great place we have here in Menominee with the Ludington Guard Band, from what I understand, the second oldest community band in the nation. Would that be correct? We'll go with that. This next selection is called La Régence. It's the fourth movement of the Handel's Music for Royal Fireworks, a suite composed to celebrate the end of the War of the Austrian Succession in 1749. Commissioned by King George II, the piece was originally scored for a large wind band and intended to be performed outdoors before a fireworks display. Where are the fireworks? The premiere in London's Green Park was a grand affair, although the fireworks themselves were somewhat overshadowed by a fire in the pavilion and a few mishaps. We call it La Régence. Thank you,
Everybody, appreciate it. How many out there have heard of The Muppet Show? The Muppet Show, right? Yeah. It's a variety classic show created by Jim Henson, featuring the Muppets and their weekly vaudeville-style performances. The show ran from 1976 to 1981. Sure seems like longer. Don't you think so, Tim? Our newbie in the group. That's right, with celebrity guests and comedic chaos ensuing. This next one is called The Muppet Show Theme. For those of you wondering, we are for hire. We do weddings, reunions, anniversaries, Joel's parties, bar mitzvahs, Ludington Garden Park. Hey, we'll even do a funeral, but it must be predated. We like to plan ahead, folks. We're at that age, you know. Obla-dee, obla-da. Did it. Do you remember? Obla-dee, obla-da. Come on, John Taylor, you got this one. You get the right hat on, brother. Obla-dee, obla-da. The Beatles, ladies and gentlemen. Written by Mr. Paul McCartney. It was released in 1968 on their White Album. If you had one of those originals, you have quite a bit of fame at this point. Obla-dee, obla-da. Yes, you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You've heard this one before. You got a friend in me. It was originally performed by Randy Newman, the famous guy. Theme song from the 1995 Disney Pixar animated film Toy Story. Do you remember that? How about you kids out there? That's anybody above 65. Yeah, or below. It's called You've Got a Friend in Me, just to change it up.
I read myself a lot.
Basie, August 21st, coming up, his birthday, 1904. He was an American jazz pianist, organist, band leader, and composer. In 1935, he formed the Count Basie Orchestra
In 1936, he took them to Chicago for a long engagement. And their first recording, he led the group for almost 50 years. It was kind of the competition for the late great Mr. Duke Ellington, born in 1899. Stole a lot of musicians to and from. This guy shared a lot of stuff. So this next one is a tribute to Mr. Count Basie. Yeah, it is called Basically Basie. Sing along, folks.
Our final selection is most appropriate for this evening, I think. But what do I know? It's called You're a Grand Old Flag. It's an American patriotic march. The song was Spirited March written by George Cohan. It's a tribute to the American flag. Cohan wrote it in 1906 for George Washington Jr., his stage musical. Cohan, July 3rd, 1878, died in 1942, known professionally as George M. Cohan, was an American entertainer, playwright, composer, lyricist, actor, singer, dancer, and producer, known in the decade before World War I as the man who owned Broadway. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we'd like to do this for you right now. It's a Grand Old Flag, and it's medley with
Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Yeah, you could sing right along. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for the opportunity to perform for you this evening. We love this place and the Ludington Guard Band. I understand there's a barbershop quartet for intermission entertainment, and we hope to see you again with the Red Cedar Brass Quintet, starring Joe Lewandowski.
Hello. So we have a child that lost her mother. The child's name, we believe, is Charlie. She's 2 to 3 years old. Wearing pink shorts, a gray t-shirt, gray socks. She has blue eyes and blonde hair.
I want to thank everybody once again for listening to the Red Cedar Brass Quintet, and have a great night tonight, everybody. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the National Night Out here at Wilson Park in Menominee, Wisconsin. It's so great to have all of you here tonight. I was in charge of the weather, so thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have a very special presentation this evening. We have the Menominee Fire Department, the Menominee Police Department, and Dunn County Sheriff's Department receiving funds through the Community Foundation, and it's a large amount of money for health and wellness. And I have Emily Weiss up here this evening, my friend, and she has donated $12,040 to the health and wellness of these three departments: the Menominee Police Department, the Menominee Fire Department, and the Sheriff's Department. And we are so proud. Thank you. We are so proud of our officers and our fine people on duty, and I am so pleased that Emily is our community member and willing to donate to the Community Foundation, which the money passes through. So please be a part of that, and know Menominee, and be a part of Menominee. And do you have any words there, Emily?
You know me well enough to know I always have words. Okay, first of all, most importantly, I think these three people standing behind me need to be introduced.
Oh, very good. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So here we go.
Denny Class, Menominee Fire Chief.
Brennan Porter, Sergeant of the Dunn County Sheriff's Office. Rick Hollister, Menominee Chief of Police. Wow.
Say.
Oh, yeah, she's got a lot more to say. Here we go, Emily.
My husband and I, Peter, my husband, and I donated this money. We both totally agree that if we didn't have the fire department, the police department, and the sheriff department that we have in our community, we would have a lot of problems that we don't have. But I think one of the things that I want everybody to appreciate, these three men behind me and all the men and women in the departments, that they are the ones that go to everything that's terrible. There's a terrible accident out on 94. Each one of these groups, I believe, go plus the EMTs. They have to see the worst case scenario in life. And that is why Peter and I believe so much in these programs, to kind of debrief them from what they've had to experience on behalf of our community.
Wow.
That was well said. You know, they see the worst of the worst, but then
they come here tonight and they see the best of the best.
You all are here tonight in celebration. We have officers here, we have fire department here, we have the units here. It's just really nice to have a gathering of this nature. We've got great music this evening with the Ludington Guard Band. The Northern Lights Barbershop Group will be at intermission. And so with that, I just want to thank everybody for being here, and thank you, Emily Weiss, for the great donation, and thank you, gentlemen, and your staff for your fine job that you do. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Do a video, and I'll see if I can swoop in and go right over the top. Okay, sounds good.
gentlemen, National Night Out across the nation. Tonight is the night that people come out in droves like here in Menominee, Wisconsin, and cities and metropolitan areas all over the United States. National Night Out. It's a great night. We have fire trucks, we have firemen, we have lots of community booths, we have jumping houses. We have so much for the community to do. What fun is National Night Out? This is what it's all about. Joining me this evening, not only the Ludington Guard Band, which are amazing, but we also have the Dunn County Northern Lights Barbershop Chorus. They rehearse Tuesday nights in Colfax. If you'd like to join them, please come on over. Now, if you would join and take your hats off and join us in singing the national anthem. Dunn County Northern Lights Chorus. Thank you.
Stripes and bright
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Ludington Yard Band.
Thank you very much, and welcome to Wilson Park. Let's have a big round of applause for our Northern
Lights. I was going to call them the
Barbershop, the Northern Lights Barbershop for singing the Star Spangled Banner, and our protective services for raising the flag. Nice job, guys. All right, we've got National Night going on here, and we've got a big concert performed for you. This is our last concert, and thank you for all the attendance so far, all this whole season. We're going to get right to it, and of course, we're going to start things off with the Sousa March. This is the King Cotton March.
Okay, our next piece is actually about new beginnings and rebuilding, and I thought it was very appropriate for National Night Out. A little bit about the piece is called Novo Lenio, and those are two Latin words which mean a new and better change. What it's about is there was a high school that got rebuilt, and it's called Upper St. Clair High School in Pennsylvania, and it has three movements, and the first one is as you're walking through the old high school as it's partially demolished, it's called Remembrance, and bringing back old memories and things like that. And then the second movement is called Qui non proficet deficit, which is also Latin, and it means he who does not progress weakens. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's on the crest of their high school, and I thought that was a great motto to have. And then the last one, a new beginning, okay? You're going to hear it. It portrays a glorious look of the new school, and the theme represents change and betterment, and it sounds full and proud. So this is Novo Lenio. Thank you very much. It's a very powerful piece. We hope you enjoyed it. The next composer is an English composer. His name is Ralph Vaughan Williams. He lived in the late 1800s, early part of the 20th century. I think he passed away in about 1958. Wrote a lot of band music and really kind of set the mark, especially for English bands. And this one is called MENOMONIE, which translates to literally no name. And that title was used for a lot of pieces that weren't specific to anything. This is also the melody has been used for the hymn for all the saints. So this is a ceremonial march. It's an English march. Slow, lush, and beautiful. We hope you enjoy it. This is MENOMONIE. And now we have a very, very special treat for you guys here tonight. We have on the stage Mr. Stuart Wallace, who is a member of the Menominee Fire Department and also a paramedic. So please welcome him to our stage. He is also an excellent trumpet player. And he is going to play a kind of rousing piece. This is entitled Rondo for Trumpet. It was written by a man named Claude T. Smith. And Claude T. Smith actually, in Novo Lenio, there was a little part of the melody which was actually written for one of the Claude T. Smith tunes called Emperorata Overture. But Claude T. Smith wrote this, and he wrote it for a man named Doc Severinsen. So you can kind of guess how this is going to go. And we welcome Stuart, and honoring National Night Out and all of our protective services. So here we go. This is Rondo for Trumpet.
Congratulations. Fantastic. Nice job. Nice job.
Well, we have to follow that with some more music, so here we go. Our next piece is by a man named Randall Standridge. It's entitled Homeward Shores, and it's very special because it was commissioned in 2022 for the Peninsula Symphonic Band of Door County, Wisconsin. And their conductor, Jason Palmer, asked that Mr. Standridge kind of tie the piece into the local lighthouses. So he thought it was a great idea. And so here's the story. Homeward Shores begins at dawn with a group of fishermen setting out to the Great Lakes. The adventure of traveling the waves is depicted in a more turbulent section, after which a jaunty jig finds the crew laughing, singing, and buoying each other's spirits until finally, guided by the lighthouse, they find their way home to their loved ones, homes, and hearts. This is Homeward Shores. Okay, thank you very much. And now would you please welcome to the stage the president of the Ludington Guard Band, Miss Anita Keeler.
Oh my gosh, what a fantastic night. The park is full, and you know, Carol Run was right. You guys sound amazing from down there. So as our concert season comes to an end, I would really like to thank everyone who's joined us here at the park, either here or on the computer on live stream. We really appreciate your support, and it's amazing how many people watch those videos. I'd also like to thank the band and all the subs for coming week after week and doing your thing. These people are amazing. A few people that I'd like to thank right now too is UW Stout, Dr. Durst, and Dr. Savano. We are very lucky that we have a university that backs us, because I'm in another group and we don't have that, and we are just very lucky in this community. We're also lucky to have the City of Menominee, the Mayor Randy Knack, Administrator Eric Atkinson, Public Works Director Dave Schofield, the Street Department, Parks Department, Technology Department, the City Council, the Menominee Police Department, other protective services for all their support. The Menominee Ludington Guard Band Foundation is another big reason why we can do what we do. I'd also like to thank Paula Updahl and Mike and Sally Schendel for their donation this year. It's greatly appreciated. And I'd like to recognize some people behind me that make this band great. We don't just show up on Monday nights and put on a concert Tuesday night without a lot of planning. So I would like my Vice President, Amanda Durst, Barb Bergman, my treasurer, Heidi Kyle, secretary, to stand up. Thank you guys for all your hours and dedication. I'd like my section leaders to stand up. Carol Helbus, Lana Laird, Larry Jess, John Clare, Amanda Durst and Barb Bergman, Jessica Keeler, Tim Katuri, Carol Run, and David Kyle. Thank you for all you do. We also have an amazing music librarian, Travis Gadel. He doesn't always get music handed in on time, and he just goes with the flow. Our staging crew, Steve Furman, Bryce Anderson, a uniform person, Jessica Keeler. Our sound video and live streaming tech, Chris Olson and Karen Olson. Stout liaison, Eric Evenson. Website, Tim Katuri, which our web address, thank you guys, drawn a blank, www.ludingtonguardband.com. Historian Carol Rund and Larry Jess and John Clare, and Ludington Guard Band Foundation, who is Larry Jess, John Clare, and Margaret Bryce. And last but not least, Julia Woodford, are you out there somewhere? Or D'Angelo Woodford, are you out there somewhere? Hey, come here, sweetie. I've done this speech probably every year since I've been band president, and what I have learned in the past with any great director is a great band director's wife. Thank you, Julia, for all you do to support your hubby and support the band. And Jim, would you mind? This man is so fantastic. I didn't realize how, I always thought he was great, but when we started doing the whole live stream, I watched from behind, and he is fantastic. I probably watch him more on the computer than I do playing. Sorry, Jim. At this time, Barb, would you like to say something? Yeah, go ahead, your turn. Preferably in advance. We appreciate everything you've done this year. It's been an amazing year. And I think we just keep getting better and better. But we'd like to give you a certificate. Some dinner. to give you guys a great big golden zucchini, but I decided not to. Okay, and my last little thing that I was going to say is this is the end of my presidency. I will be helping the upcoming president get next year's season all set up, but I would like to introduce you to Brady Burgraff. Would you stand up? He is going to do a fantastic job. So Jim, I'm going to run around here and try to play Music Man because Mom, this one's for you, hon.
Well, thank you very much. It doesn't get any nicer than that. And
Yeah, we got more music to play for everybody here, so let's get right to it. This is selections from the Music Man. I think you all know it. Sing along, clap along, dance along. Here we go.
Well, we are getting kind of tired here, and we need to take a break. But
before we do that, we have one more tune to play before intermission. And please stick around for the intermission for the barber shoppers. Also, you know, if you haven't already gone back to the first congregational church back there, see what they're doing. Go ahead, pick up some pine stuff. We're going to go back there, so, and some of us already did. So, see what they got left and support some good causes. Anyway, so right now, it's time for the Children's March. So that means what I need to have is every little kid in the park over here on my right-hand side. And we mean young at heart, we mean old, we mean new, we mean everything in between. So parents maybe hold their hand or whatever, that's fine. Let's get all the kids in the park over here. Let's have a good final Children's March for our last concert of the season. And hopefully we'll get everybody through. We've got a special children's tunes, collection of children's tunes for the March tonight. And hopefully we'll have a good one. Make sure you safe, you guys. March across the stage when the music starts. Wave to your parents, get your picture. Don't jump off the end so you're safe and everything. And whatever you do, please remember, I think if you don't give me a high five when you go by right here, I'll be very disappointed. Here we go.
There you are. I'm looking for you. Where did you go back?
We have a program in Colfax every spring. And the last spring was a show about Western music, and we'd like to share some of those Western songs with you. The first one was Don't Fence Me In. The next one probably everybody knows, Home on the Range.
It was awesome.
workshop music is a harmony of 4 parts, and it can be sung by a choir, and typically a quartet. 4 people, 4 parts. After singing that, I get a little thirsty, so the next one is going to be about water. Now, the Sons of Pioneers, they used to sing a song called Pool Water. One more song as a quartet, but this one is not a Western song. This is one to honor a man that died this past year. He was part of the Beach Boys, Mr. Wilson. And one of the songs that he wrote in the bedroom of his house out in California, because he said the bedroom was the one place he felt safe and comfortable. The song was In My Room.
There's a room where I can go to tell my secrets true. In my room, in my room.
In this world I rock out all my worries and my cares in my my dreaming and my feeling fly awake and pray. Laugh at yesterday. Now it's dark and I'm alone, but I won't be afraid. In my room, in my
last song here is called If the Lord Be Willing and the Creek Don't Rise.
Go.
See you next spring in Colfax.
Sure, I got some stuff. Cool, see you, bud. See ya. Good job.
Trish behind us. I thought she was coming.
There's a camera.
Test. Thank you.
Nice concert.
Welcome back to our second half, and we're glad you stayed because we've got a couple special treats for you right now. I've been asked to say that back at the Pie Bake Shop Ice Cream Social, if it's still going, everything's 2 for the price of 1. So this is your last chance to go pick up a piece of pie for breakfast. Anyway, we're going to start things off with a special solo here. We have our lead alto sax player who will be playing soprano sax tonight. Please welcome Mr. Larry Jess to the stage.
And along with him, we have the Mayor of Menominee, Mr. Randy Knack. Let's welcome him to the stage. And they are going to play and sing a beautiful piece.
It's a Wonderful World.
I think he is. I hope he does a good job.
Of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful
There it goes. And I stand for Larry Jess, alto sax, soprano sax tonight, and our Mayor, Mr. Randy Knack. Nice job.
That was great. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to take a minute and recognize the years of service If it wasn't for all of these people back here, we would not be able to do the things that we do. They are fantastic musicians, and some of them have been in the band for a long time, and we're going to find out just how long right now. So, if I could have anyone who is in their first year in the band, please stand up and be recognized. Who's in their first year? All right. And then we're going to go kind of a range here. Anybody from their second year up to their fourth year, second to fourth year. Very good. Okay, how about 5 years up to 10 years in the band? 5 years up to 10 years in the band. Nice job. All right, let's go 11 up to 15. 11 years up to 15 years in the band. Wow. Yeah, now we're getting there. All right. 16 years up to 20 years. Okay. 21 up to 25 years. 21 up to 25. Here we go. And how about 26 to 30? 26 to 30 years. All right. 30 and 10. All right. How about between 31 and 35 years? Anybody 31 to 35? Yes, okay. Congratulations. Okay, we're going to start counting. Here we go. 36 years. Right there. 37. 38. 39. 40 years. 41. 42. 43. I know we've got some. 44. 45, 46. That's Kelsey. Congratulations. 47 years. 48. 49 years. 50 years. 51 years. 52 years. 53 years. Carol Round. There we go. 53 years. 54 years. 55 years. Lana Laird. Congratulations. 56 years. 57 years. 58 years. Margaret Price, all right. Woo! 59 years. 60 years. 61 years. 62 years. 63 years. There he is. Larry just 63 years in the Ludington Guard there. Congratulations. Okay, I don't think anybody's stopping that tonight. So congratulations to you all. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't do it. So thank you very much. I'm 20. This is my 20th year, I believe. So. Okay, we're going to end with a couple of traditions. Here we go. It's our first one we like to play every year, and this is Amazing Grace in the style of the Canadian Brass.
And a hand for our soloist, Mr. John Clare on trumpet, Mrs. Margaret Grice on clarinet, and Jessica Lynn on trombone. Nice job. All right.
Okay, and now for a really fun one. This one is something that I had no idea of a tune until I started directing this band, and ever since it's just I still sing it to myself every couple of weeks, and still can't get the tunes out of my head. So
here we go. This is Hootenanny.
And once again, let's welcome the president of the Ludington Garden Band, Miss Anita Keeler.
What an amazing year. Thank you for all the soloists, and I really appreciate Stuart being willing to come and do this tonight. I thought that was such a special treat. Whenever you're ready, Jim, let's do this. Ludington Garden Band Foundation, our flag raisers, the Scout Troop, Girl Scouts, National Honor Guard, Protective Services, Intermission, Red Cats, Joyful Noise Choirs, Sweet Adelines, White Pine Ramblers, Red Cedar Rousers, Barbershop Quintet, Red Cedar Brass Quintet, General Harbor Water Wars Dancers, Menominee Theater Youth Program, Northern Lights Chorus, Ludington Garden Band Foundation for the Pie Servers, Dunn County Women's Community Ed, Our Savior's Lutheran Church, Alana Club of Menominee Girl Scouts, New Life Nazarene Church, Boy Scouts, or the Scouts, Little Elk Creek Church, Tucker Valley Habitat for Humanity, and First Congregational Church. Senior Center for the Popcorn, Paul Upton and Mike and Sally Schiffer for their donation, Family of Ken C. Esau, Menominee Singers, Let's Paint the Town, Marketplace Foods, Culver, Dan, Julie Angelo, Bonnie Wolf, Stuart Wallace, Michael, Josh Hopper, Happy Rising, Band Officers, Section Leaders, Band Support Staff, our Director, Jane Woodford, and thank you, Band, and themselves. And I especially want to thank you, the audience, for being here on Tuesday night. Thanks for a great 2025 season.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Ludington Guard Band. Thank you for a great season. Thank you all for coming out every night.